Now, the White House is playing down reports of a 15% tariff deal with the EU. The Financial Times reported that both sides were close to a deal, but Trump officials have said no such deal is close to being agreed. Well, our reporter Mairead Cleary joins us now with more on this story. And Mairead, you've been talking to exporters today. What have they been saying to you?
Well, their hope is the same as Europe. They want to avoid this 30% tariff that Donald Trump has threatened to place on all goods entering the EU or entering the US from the EU starting on the 1st of August. So these negotiations have been quite difficult. And as you said, there is mixed messages coming out of either camp. It appears, though, that the European Commission is moving towards that 15% broad tax on all goods entering the States from Europe. Of course, that's been disputed by Washington. And of course, really, there is a health warning with all of these developments. It is just a negotiation stage. And at the end of the day, the US president can backtrack on all of this. He has the final say, and he might not agree with what his negotiators have said. So, of course, the EU has to prepare a contingency plan. If the plan and the agreement falls apart, they need to protect themselves. And they have agreed a €92 billion deal, putting a tax on €92 billion worth of goods entering the EU from the US from the 7th of August onwards. That is if Trump ploughs on with his tariffs on the 1st of August. Now, the European Commission has hoped that it wouldn't come to this. Of course, their focus is to get a deal across the table. But if that doesn't happen, they have this list now in place. It is pending the approval of European members. Earlier, I spoke to Simon McKeever. He's the CEO of Irish Exporters Association, and he's calling on the government to support his industry with a fund similar to what was set up during Brexit.
We want to see a tariff relief fund, very similar to the Brexit relief fund that was done back in 2021. The money comes from the European Union. It was about $1 billion. I think it was 800 and something million the last time around. So we're going to need something similar to that. And it's to give companies time to make changes. So right now, some of them are laying off part of or all of that tariff to the United States, but they will need time to be able to lay all of that off into the United States. That's number one. Number two, they're going to need to start growing their exports into other parts of the world. That's going to be required as well. So it's really to allow them time. And
Taoiseach Simon Harris, who's also the Trade Minister, said this morning that this is not an escalatory measure, these countermeasures, but rather it's in hand with the calm approach Europe has taken to these negotiations, which have been described as difficult by many in Europe.
Mairead Cleary,